The 12 games of Christmas on ESPN are here. But first, we've got The Jump presented by Hungry Jack's. The burgers are better at Hungry Jack's. Kane Pittman at the desk, and a brand new desk, by the way. Merry Christmas to me. Andrew Gazey, well, he's going full Santa mode and handing out gifts to teams in need. While Trevor Gleeson and myself, we're going to break down some burning questions for the Boomers as Brian Goorjian wraps up his tour of the US. Plus, the latest in the Giannis and Joe Ingles shoe saga. But first, we're going to get to our opening tip. And I mentioned the 12 games of Christmas. But to me, I'm looking at those two games highlighted in green. It's a Christmas Day double dip. You've got the Jack Jumpers and the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. And then we're going to wrap it up with a freeway series, the Sydney Kings and the Illawarra Hawks. Two games that I think the NBL would be delighted with what's happened over the last few weeks and few rounds because the storylines are right there. Andrew Gazey, Trevor Gleeson join me now. And Gazey, just on that, we've seen some interesting results over the last few weeks with some of these teams, which prompts me to ask you right now, what is the most intriguing storyline? Because you've got a whole handful you could go to.
Absolutely, Kane, and hello to you and hello to Trev. It's going to be an interesting Christmas Day for these four teams because I think all of them still have a lot at stake. But the thing that I'm most intrigued about is the Illawarra Hawks. Are they the real deal? We've seen how spectacular they've been as we look at the ladder. They're only 5-8, but they've won 3 out of their last 4. And when Justin Tatum has come in and revamped this team completely, and the way in which he's been able to extract nothing but the best from guys like Sam Froling, Gary Clark looks much improved, and we saw Tyler Harvey with just an explosion in the first half against the Phoenix. So I think all these teams have got a lot to play for. Phoenix 8-8. Dropped consecutive games by big margins. First time, I think, in franchise history they've lost back-to-back games by more than 20. So they've certainly still got a lot of issues that they're trying to address as well. Sydney Kings, doom and gloom last week. It's amazing what happens when you get a win. So there's a lot of interesting storylines around the Christmas Day. But are the Illawarra Hawks, and can they do something spectacular and get a huge win on Christmas Day against their crosstown rivals?
Yeah, the coach has done a great job here. They've totally turned around. Gazey's, for once, he's on the money. He knows what he's talking about. Tatum has done a great job of clarifying roles and having a high standard. And they are playing their butts off. They're getting after it. It's a great watch to see them play at that level. But I'm really interested in seeing about the two teams that got beat last weekend. Both teams had 2 losses. With the Tassie, seen them against Perth. They had their opportunity. Bryce, the Iceman, cleared the game for them. But then back it up against Sydney. They were pretty disappointing. And Phoenix, that you mentioned, Gazey, that was a big, disastrous weekend. They are still the little brother in Melbourne on the showdown. And then to back that up and get a can of whip ass, open up and bang. So it's a big game for them this week at Christmas Day.
Hey, and let me just say, Justin Tatum getting it done with the shadow of Trevor Gleeson over the back. Remember all the conversations? Trev, you're getting phone calls, you're going to be in Illawarra, and Justin Tatum has just got the job done. That's a man that can work under pressure, Trev.
Yeah, no, look, very impressive. He's got his opportunity. He's taken it with the run. I commend him. What a great job he's doing so far. But it's only 4 games, all right? There's not a lot of drama happening. Everybody's following suit, getting in line, doing their job. Let's see how they cop a little bit of adversity and go through. But he's doing an outstanding job, and they're a great watch to watch on the game.
Now, Christmas Day basketball, Gazey, and one thing that we absolutely acknowledge, hardly anyone works more than you when it comes to this business. And we know if there's going to be one game on Christmas, Andrew Gazey is going to be on the clock. So if there's 2 games on Christmas, he's guaranteed to be working. So let me ask you, has the NBL gone too quickly, too far with 2 games on Christmas in just year 2 after last year's success?
I don't think so. I think we look at the success of last year, and in particular the TV audiences for this game to grow. I think it's about trying to introduce it to as many people as you possibly can. And on Christmas Day, in the evening, in the late afternoon, your bellies are full. Normally we're sitting down on the couch having a bit of a kip and just trying to recover. Nothing better than to switch on the telly. We've seen how impactful it can be over in the United States with the NBA schedule. Christmas Day is one of their marquee days. So I think for the NBL to have 2 games, the thing that I was a little concerned about is whether or not would people show up to the actual game. And when all's said and done, that's probably not the priority for Christmas Day, albeit that last year we saw a good attendance at Sydney, probably see another good attendance. We know the Jack Jumper fans are crazy about their team, and that's going to be a sellout there. So I think all in all, it's a fantastic initiative. And for the sport to own Christmas Day, no doubt others have seen the success, other sporting organisations have seen the success and are thinking, hey, we might need to get a piece of this. So get 2 games, really establish it as a basketball day, and hopefully it can grow.
And Larry Kesselman, to your point, last year 1 game, now he's just cementing this for the NBL. Trev, I'll come back to you with one more. So the 2 teams that you mentioned that were on that skid, whether it's Tasmania or South East Melbourne Phoenix, it was all Bryce Cotton, and then the Sydney Kings got the job done against the Jack Jumpers. Any concern? Because remember, we did the bold predictions last week, and certainly I think we all had Tassie as one of the contenders right there below perhaps Melbourne United.
Well, this man over there had him to win the championship, so he took a big hit going into Christmas with that. But, sometimes that happens. Look, they're very well coached team. Scott Ross will have them fired up without a question. That game against Perth could have gone either way. And they're a little bit disappointing against Sydney. Now, Sydney rebounded and they got the emotional aspect, but that man there, he's lightning quick. It was a pleasure to get out there and see him in action. Him and Bryce going at it, and especially that last little play. He got the 3-pointer on the step back, Bryce Cotton. But yeah, this game's a really good one. I'm really intrigued to see how this plays out, because one team's going to lose 3 in a row, one team's going to turn the corner.
It's going to be a fascinating double dip on Christmas Day, as we've mentioned. So many storylines. But hey, we've got an early gift for you as well. How about our top plays of the week, presented by Hungry Jacks?
Perth trying to find an option. Magnay says no.
He's been unbelievable out there. Wildcats got a little bit out of sync of that, and Bryce didn't touch the ball in that possession. Like, that's just great athleticism.
This starter's going to be fresh. Here's Krebs getting some minutes, and again the hook party! All over Mitch Creek. Come on, guys. I'm stunned. I'm shocked. That was an unreal finish. They go through Goldie. He likes the matchup on Alan Williams. Puts on the moves and then draws the foul and the bucket. And that sums up CG 43 season.
Welcome back to The Jump, presented by Hungry Jacks. The Boomers, they failed to reach the quarterfinal stage of the FIBA World Cup. That would seem like a failure, right? But perhaps the silver lining is that the Paris Olympics are now just 7 months away. I caught up with Joe Ingles in Boston on the weekend, and I had a curiosity about how much continuity matters with this new look Boomers squad.
I think, yeah, it's a bit of both. I think it does help. Like, anyone that's seen our team, we did have, Giddy's playing big minutes. Dyson Daniels will get to play. We had Xavier. There's so many guys that were involved that hadn't been involved, and that always takes time. It's never going to be. It's like me going to Milwaukee last year. You've got to adjust. Me coming here now, you're trying to adjust to the team, and the other part of it is we're all professionals, and we're trying to win a gold medal, and we have to do whatever it takes, sacrifice, and put egos aside and do all of that to be the best team we can going into that tournament.
Trevor Gleeson rejoins us now. And Trev, that's really interesting comments from Joe Ingles. And I do think a fascinating part of what Ingles is doing now in Orlando, and perhaps what he's going to get asked to do with the Boomers, is that he is in many ways the veteran in the room with the young group. So for Joe Ingles and then obviously this team, what do you see as the priority for the Boomers between now and the Paris Olympics?
Yeah, you're right with Joe. He's just the locker room presence. He's a great presence to have. And that's NBA teams thrive out to get that kind of guy. Positive reinforcement. You know, he's got the experience under the belt to help these young Boomer guys through, come and develop and carry on that culture from the word go. So his role is very important with the Olympics around the corner. He can help people there, and he can still play. He's still a great player, and you can see his impact he's had at Orlando in the NBA. Just his presence out there and smart with the ball, and that's certainly going to help the Boomers in the long run.
I was speaking to the Orlando broadcasters at the game in Boston on the weekend, and they said they had a sponsor event at the start of the season. And someone asked Joe Ingles, what is he going to teach these young guys? And he said, I'm going to teach them how to do public speaking because none of these guys have given a single decent answer in this event here. So he's helping the Magic in a number of ways. What about the Boomers as a whole? Last year, there was a lot of talk about the preparation. They played some games in Melbourne, but now it looks like it's going to be different. You as a coach, when you've got a group like this in a short period of time, what are you preferring and what do you see from these potential warm-up games against Team USA, Serbia, these high-quality nations?
I absolutely love this. When I heard about this, was just brilliant. You want tough games leading into the tournament. And if they're playing against the USA team and Serbia teams in the lead-up, I think that's going to be beneficial, more so than playing Venezuela here in Melbourne, or, South Sudan was a great story and we got beaten by Brazil. But having those tough games just puts a little bit of edge on you going into the Olympic Games. And I think this is a great initiative. I hope it comes true that we get that tough leading game so we can put them under pressure before it really counts on the Olympic stage.
And Olgun Ulic reporting that on ESPN.com.au. You can check out that story there. It'll be fascinating if the Boomers do get those matchups. Tell you what else is going to be interesting, the centre battle on this Boomers team. And we've discussed a lot the fact that some of these guys just aren't playing minutes. They're picking up DMPs in the NBA. And we've always looked at Jock Landale and said, well, this is a guy that's been in major tournaments. This is the starter. But as of right now, Duop Reith has played double the minutes Landale has. Is this a problem moving forward, and does this make the decision difficult to who's the starter?
Well, this is a great problem for Australia to have. Duop is doing a fantastic job in his NBA career, and he was one of the best players. Don't forget that. He was one of the best players at the World Cup. He was probably underutilized a little bit in a couple of those games when he got going, but he is putting some real pressure on that position. We know Jock was a big hit getting injured just in the warm-up games and not playing in that. But he is carving out a great piece in the NBA. He's going to be in rhythm. He's going to have timing down there. And that's an advantage to him over Jock Landale that's playing a little bit limited minutes. And this, you can see his game there. He's stretching the floor, can hit the three, finish above the rim. This is a great problem for the coaching staff to have. Two players vying for one position. It's a great thing to have, and hopefully the cream rises to the top.
And Trev, one thing you know about me by now is I like to throw you a question without notice. I was speaking to some people at the game on Sunday, and they were discussing the fact that a lot of these Australian players are perfecting their roles in the NBA. If you think about what Josh Green has done, Dante Exum as well, Dyson Daniels trying to do that in New Orleans. Do these Boomers players in the NBA right now need to find themselves in situations where they are asked to do a little bit more in order to help this Boomers team moving forward? Because it feels like they have just got a lot of great role players that have to try and come together and fit.
Yeah, you're right. It's a meshing together. You got your Paddy and your Joe have been there for a long time, and Josh Giddey doing a fantastic job. And then it's kind of a mixed bag of what's coming after that. If it's Josh Green coming off the bench or starting in that 3 spot. So, yeah, they've got to define their roles in the NBA, but it's an easier transfer to do that into the national team. But it's then you have 3 point guards. How can that work out when you got Paddy, you got Joe, Joe can play the point too. You got Giddey and then you got Daniels. That's where the problem is. You can't fit all 3 players point guards on the floor at the same time.
Trev, outstanding work from you. We'll bring you back in just a little bit. But next, Gazey's been off wrapping presents. Santa Gaze is coming to the building next. And he's handing out gifts to players and coaches that deserve it at this time of year. Next on The Jump. Welcome back to The Jump, presented by Hungry Jacks. And this is a time of giving and goodwill, and that's why we bring in a man who carries himself with a significant level of grace. And for this segment, we're calling him Santa Gaze. And what do you think, Gazey, just off the top here? Last week, you had a little bit of a pot shot at the graphics department. I'm not sure whether they've lifted to the level here a week later.
No, we like to encourage them as much as we possibly can because they can make us look very, very poor. But I want to, and I don't know about the beard, and it's a big bonce and the hat sort of just fits. So I'm not sure they've got it all in proportion. But when you're dealing with a bonce like mine, I can understand why there might be some challenges. But if I'm Santa and I'm giving out some gifts, I want to start with the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. They have had a really tough time of late. Will Cummins was here, and then through some issues that he had off the floor, they had to let him go. They've suffered two 20-point plus consecutive back-to-back losses. That's never been done in the history of their franchise. So they're going through a tough spell. But if I'm giving out gifts, I'm going to give you the gift of a healthy Mitch Creek.
Yes.
Mitch Creek is a superstar in our competition, an MVP candidate. Kane, listen to this. He's averaging almost 20 points a game, shooting at 51%, 44% from the three-point line. 6.5 rebounds to game and 6 assists. He is a massive piece to what the Phoenix have been doing. We saw how poor they were against the Illawarra Hawks when he wasn't there. He's also had some personal issues that he's got to address. So if I'm Santa, I'm hopefully giving the Phoenix and their fans a healthy Mitch Creek for them to get back in the winners list and be once again a contender this season.
Gazey, I thought it was a little bit harsh last week when you said my bold prediction of Creaky winning the MVP was not all that bold. But when you read out those numbers, I'm starting to think you might have a point. And by the way, the Phoenix, 5 straight games on the road here coming up as well. So it is not the time of year for that team to be missing Mitch Creek. I'm going to give out a gift as well, Gazey, and I'm going to give a gift to the Detroit Pistons fans, and it's going to be a win, because the Pistons have been utterly putrid throughout this entire season, and they've got 2 games before Christmas, Gazey. They are going to play the Jazz on Friday morning and then the Nets on Sunday morning. They're 2-25 on the season. They're on pace to finish 6-76 on the season. Any single stat you want to look at, it is ugly. They have been terrible, but Gazey, come on. It is a time of year. We want the Pistons fans to have a smile on their face. Please gift this team a win.
Yes. Well, it's hard to see where the next win's coming from. I know there was a question bandied around. Could Melbourne United actually beat the Detroit Pistons right now?
Yes.
And I'd say they'd give it a hell of a crack. Certainly if they came over here to Australia with our rules, I think I'd be favouring Melbourne United. They don't have those household names. Monty Williams is a coach who's coming in trying to right the ship. They've had some challenges, but I don't think anyone would have thought the Detroit Pistons were going to be this bad this season. But as it goes on, I think that they would welcome your gift, Santa, Kane, because they desperately need it, because morale and that habit of losing's hard to break.
Yes, I think you're exactly right. What else have you got for us? Because you want to give up another one. Yep, let's roll.
I do. I want to give up one, and we saw a sample of it this week with Ja Morant.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to give the gift of a mentally stable, an elite athlete, someone who can turn the fortunes of your club around, and Ja Morant can absolutely do that with the Grizzlies. He misses just the lazy 25 games. He's got some personal issues that he's got to deal with. Well, what does he do? He comes out and drops 34 points, 8 assists and 6 rebounds, and rallies his team from a 24-point deficit. This game looked gone, it looked buried. In steps Ja Morant, he takes control of the game, and not only that, the dying seconds, they call his number, and he comes up with the game winner. The stats speak for themselves. This guy is a star. I know last year Leonard Copeland questioned a guy weighing in at 79 kilos. That's right. 79 kilos. Does he have the body type to endure? Well, Santa Gazey is going to give him that as well. He's going to give him good health. He's going to give him mental stability, and he's going to give the Grizzlies a superstar back into their lineup and get them back into playing to playoff contention.
Yes, and the Grizzlies, they'll be desperate to have him back home as well. They've been awful on their home court so far this season. I've got one more as well. And you said the gift of health for Mitch Creek and this Phoenix team looking to make a roll here. I'm going to go with health for Will Magnay of the Tasmania Jack Jumpers. Now, we've seen him play a few games here of late.
Nice.
But if we talk about the ceiling for the Jackies, a team that have been right there, but this man has always been the question mark. Is Will Magnay going to be healthy? When's he going to return? It felt like the injury report was never ending. Right now, Gazey, he's playing around 16 minutes a night. To me, I think they need to get him to 20, 25 by the postseason. Ease him into it. Don't rush it. Make sure you time your run and have a healthy Will Magnay. I think it's really going to help this team.
Yeah, spot on, Kane, and he's been splitting time with Marcus Lee. Can he get healthy? Can he stay out of foul trouble? What we've seen so far is that, yes, tick and tick. So he's a star in the competition, and if he gets back to his very best, the Jack Jumpers, they're going to be a contender.
Well, that is honestly some sensational gifts from myself and you, Gazey, if I don't say so myself. But I tell you who does not give out gifts, and that's rivals. Joe Ingles responds to Giannis Antetokounmpo next. They're talking about shoes. Hey, Gazey might know something about shoes as well. That's next.
Rumor has it Jesse snores, man.
Maybe like one of them, maybe like JR, maybe like a coach or something, if he was like my roommate.
I haven't been around the guys that much to know that, can't answer that question.
I'm gonna go Jesse just because. I don't even know what he's picked, but I'm going Jesse.
Swag, Jesse.
Jesse, I feel like Jesse listens to a lot of older music. I'm gonna say Ush. He's a character, man. Funny guy.
Usher, by far.
I got a shower for the game. Look good, feel good, play good. Always try and keep to that.
Listen to my music.
Watching stand-up kind of loosens me up. Steve Harvey, Chris Tucker, Bernie Mac, yeah, you name it. I'm gonna go Michael Harris.
Alex Sarr. I literally caught him. This guy's watching a documentary of himself.
On a burger, no.
Pineapple Gang.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I can get with it occasionally.
Hell yeah.
No.
That was our teammate trivia presented by Hungry Jacks. And speaking of teammates, Joe Ingles, Giannis Antetokounmpo. When you're in the same locker room, you would think that you would look after each other, right? Maybe buy each other a gift. They were in Milwaukee last year together. It doesn't seem like that was necessarily the case.
This is it. Yeah, ESPN Australia?
Yes.
Yeah.
When are you coming, by the way? You know, a lot of people love you over there.
I'm not coming. You guys have Joe Ingles over there.
That's right.
You guys produced Joe Ingles. He sucks.
What is the response? And by the way, I think some people thought it was serious. So you can either pour cold water on that, or this can be the start of the biggest rivalry in the NBA.
We should just start a rivalry for the fun of it.
You're not missing Joe, is that what you're saying?
Nah, he sucks.
It was funny that what he said was true too. My daughter started playing basketball and didn't have any basketball shoes, so we went to a shop to get her shoes, and the first shoe she picked was a pair of Giannis's. And I texted him, was like, yo, can I get some discount?
When he was like, hey, I know Giannis, like, I need a discount. And I was like, no, man. Take your wallet out and pay some money, man. Let me get some royalties from the shoes.
Anyone that knows Giannis knows he loves his money.
Thank you for being a great customer. Funny story.
And then I actually got home and Jacob saw Miller's shoes and wanted a pair as well. So now both the twins have a pair of Giannis's. So, great guy. Obviously wish him all the best, but yeah, we're coming for him whenever we play him.
And still no discount, though, just to confirm.
No, there was definitely no discount. I paid full price.
Joe, thanks, man. Appreciate the time. A man who signed the richest deal in NBA history. You'd think he would just cut a little discount for the kids. But Gazey, it actually did get me thinking, because you know that I love Giannis. But on this one, I have to say he's probably in the wrong. Yeah. But it did get me thinking. When I first met you, you were very nice, went over and above to make me feel welcome in this industry. But you also asked me what shoe size I was. I'm still yet to see my pair of Gazeys after 3 years, and I'm wondering what's going on. I think there might be a bit of similarity between yourself and the big fella from Greece.
No, not at all. Happy to give them out to those very close and dear to me. Well, you're working on it, Kane. We're bonding as we go through this, but maybe a Christmas present coming your way. But I don't know what's going on with Joe. If you're looking for an affordable product, just get yourself out there and buy a pair of Gazeys if you're a bit tight. Hard to understand when Joe's on $11 million a year, but if he needs a bit of a chop out, happy to help him and the kids out with a pair of Gazeys.
Trev, Giannis in the wrong here or what?
Well, first off, I'm waiting at the door for the doorbell, the package to deliver, and getting the size 12 pair of Gazeys.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Put it around the tree. So I'm looking for that, but we're not close, so I don't worry about it. But yeah, this is hilarious. This is and just the banter that they have together. And if I'm not mistaken, they play each other tomorrow. So this is going to be a fun little interaction, Giannis and Joe, and see how it responds out there. But you know, Joe's got enough money. He's got to spend it somehow, and this is chicken feed to him. So, yeah, go and spend it.
And very obviously having a laugh, Gazey. Joe said that he was getting texts from people asking if this was a serious rivalry. Surely we're not that silly.
No, ridiculous, Kane. It's all in good fun. I'm a little surprised because I did see Giannis with his latest model giving them out to all the staff there in Milwaukee. So maybe... Joe, no longer at Milwaukee, so ta-da, you're off the list.
No, and of course, I take it back, absolutely. Giannis, you are doing a great thing and you're a very generous man. I take it all back. Trevor Gleeson, Andrew Gaze, that's been The Jump for another week. We appreciate your company. Enjoy the Christmas Day hoops. We'll see you next week.